99.3 Nigeria Info, that's where we are, and it's your number one news, talk and sports station. Fantastic morning to you. It's the 21st day of August 2019. If you're just joining us, well, the last lap of the show is here, and this is a time we have a full panel to have a full conversation and also listen to you, take your calls, and also read your messages on Facebook and YouTube, where we're streaming live, on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can also listen to us anywhere you are in the world by connecting with us on our website, nigeriainfo.fm. You're welcome. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I am Sheriff Quadry. Thank you for joining us. This morning we're looking at setting agenda for incoming ministers at the federal level, because the President, Muhammadu Buhari, will be stirring his ministers today and hopefully even assign portfolios to them. So we have an interesting conversation ahead of us this morning on the Morning Crossfire. Thank you for joining us.
Like Sheriff has said, it's going to be a full day for the country today. Interesting day. You must be watching out for this one, because today the ministers will be sworn in. But yesterday, a big thing happened also. Lagos State got its commissioners and special advisors. We gave you the live coverage here yesterday. And so Lagos, now you have commissioners. The cabinet is set on the federal level today. By the end of today, we should have the cabinet also fully set. Right. And there should be no excuse in kicking the ball rolling. Bola Olojede is joining us this morning. He's a chartered accountant. Good morning, Bola.
Good morning.
And Rotimi Sankore is still here with us. Rotimi, good morning again.
Good morning.
Let's run you quickly through, in case you missed this, a list of commissioners in Lagos and special advisors. It's a whole lot, and you might want to check this out online, where we've put up the details here and there. Let's see, for Lagos State. Bola, have you gone through this list?
The Lagos State?
Lagos State.
Yeah, I went through it yesterday.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So we have about 12 special advisors and quite a number of commissioners. One of the things we said yesterday, one of the callers during the live coverage was saying that we had too many people forming this cabinet. Do you think so, Bola, for Lagos State?
For Lagos State, I'm not sure it's about the number. Lagos State is a huge thing, and most of those portfolios are quite sizable. The quantum of what has to be done in Lagos State. If you don't have it at this level, you will still have to create it at certain other levels. Should I say, some sub-leadership for certain critical roles in the state. So for me, I don't think it's about the number. More or less, it's about the fact that some of the people there might just be political donations, compensation, which is also not out of place. But for those who will be holding critical roles, there are some very, very critical roles for Lagos State. Consider the position of Lagos State in Nigeria and even in Africa.
Right.
Those are the ones all eyes will be upon to deliver on environment, on finance, on transportation, the critical infrastructure that makes Lagos what it is.
Any surprises for you in this list that we have here? Any surprises at all?
Well, I'm not sure if surprise is the right word. The finance role is given to an auditor. In my perspective, finance is actually far away from auditing, which is a back-end sort of things. But at the same time, let's look at it from the perspective of leadership. If the guy is just going there to provide leadership, so whatever skill he doesn't have, right,
the permanent secretaries should be able to.
So it probably can contract those skills and provide the right leadership. Honestly, auditing and finance are.
If he doesn't know what finance is,
then
then what kind of hold on, Rotimi. If you're talking about leadership from the back end, if he doesn't know what finance is all about, I mean, he's trained in auditing. Yes. How does he provide effective leadership in that?
He will have an idea by virtue of his auditing training. Just that because he has not been a core practitioner in that space, his own choice of space has been different, then he definitely will need to work with people who have core competence in that area.
So you also believe, this was one of the arguments we had during the ministerial screening also, is it important that you find someone who's got experience in that field? For instance, you have a Commissioner of Health or Minister for Health who's got experience in health, or does it not matter as long as you can just manage, the affairs of the ministry?
I think it matters, especially in certain technical areas. Because just look at the state as a company. If it was a company, will you hire a CFO who is an auditor? Or will you hire a head of engineering who is an accountant? People hardly ever do that. So the technical competence matters, especially in certain areas. There are other areas where you can walk through it, just as a leader, as an experienced leader who knows how to get people to make things happen. So those skills that you don't have, you know the people who have them. You can pull those skills together and you can make it happen.
Rotimi, let's take a look at the highlights of the list of commissioners. Commissioner for Finance right now is Mr. Rabiu Olowo Onolapo. Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. And Commissioner for Health, Professor Aki Abayomi. The person we might have direct contact with, information, as we want to know what's going on with the cabinet. Commissioner for Information and Strategy is Mr. Gbenga Omotosho. Taking a look at this list, housing is Moruf Akinderu Fatai. Rotimi, you've taken a look at this list. Now the portfolios have been distributed, if you put it that way. What do we look forward to for this cabinet in the next 4 years?
Well, first let me say that I wish them the very best, because Lagos is not the easiest state to run, if for anything else, for the size of the economy. Now, I don't know some of them, so I don't know how well they are qualified.
Let me tell you about the Commissioner for Finance, and this is important because yesterday we had a former gubernatorial candidate in Lagos, Mr. Babatunde Gbadamoti, and he highlighted that Lagos had not started running because they didn't have money, which he had, according to him, envisaged. So this commissioner is very crucial. There's nothing they can do without money. Mr. Rabiu Olowo Onolapo, according to his LinkedIn handle profile, is a certified fraud examiner, experienced chief audit executive, adjunct professor, and authorized trainer of the ACF in West Africa, an anti-fraud organization and premier provider of anti-fraud training and education. So that's what he is.
Yes, when I say I don't know some of them, I don't mean I've not read their profile. I mean, the profile was copiously provided at the swearing.
So you meant you didn't know them personally? Or what?
Well, I don't know how well they work, and I always hesitate to
make comments.
Not to make comments, but to make definitive judgments on people. When I say I don't know, it's not like I don't know the paddy like we go and drink pepper soup, but I don't know what their actual capacity is. But you can have a lot of credentials on paper,
right?
If you have not demonstrated it, that's what I mean. I've not seen them in positions where they have had to demonstrate this. So for some of them, it's impossible to make any judgment as to what they are capable of. That's why
isn't that what the committee did when they were screening them, to ask them about the capacities?
Yes, but the committee had no idea what they were being appointed for, which is
as with the national level.
So it's a big fault in the process. I mean, you go for a job interview, you have no idea what job you are applying for. The person interviewing you does not know what job you are going to be given, and you end up with a very awkward situation. So that's why I started by saying I wish them the best of luck. But I don't know some of them in any working capacity. So I can only wish them the best. Now, the ones that I know, some of them seem okay. Some do not. But there is a bigger problem with the whole setup, which is potential conflict. So you have a commissioner for agriculture and you have a special advisor for agriculture. So Bisola Olusonya is expected to work with the commissioner Lawal. Who is more important there? And why do we need a commissioner and a special advisor for the same position? The same thing for housing. Toke Benson is going to be working with the commissioner, Fatai. Who is more important? Who gets the ear of the governor? Who does the actual planning? Who does the implementation? If the advisor knows less than the commissioner, that's a problem. If the commissioner knows less than the advisor, in fact, if they just don't agree there will be problem.
Let's look at the
And
root
you
of
can
hold
go
on,
on, just hold on. And you can go on, just hold on, please. Let me finish.
Rotimi,
And you
please.
can go on and on. You know, Joe Igbokwe is supposed to work with Tunji Bello in water resources. You have Salako for development. You have special advisor, arts and culture, working with Adebolu, the commissioner for transportation, Oladende, commerce and industry. Ajayi is supposed to work with the commissioner, Lola Akonde, education. Look, you know, there are too many positions in which there is potential conflict.
The question here is, some people will say they don't understand when you mention potential conflict, because special advisor is quite different from the commissioner, and there shouldn't be any clash whatsoever.
No.
Are the special advisors advising the commissioners, or they're advising the governor?
No, the special advisors are to advise the governor, not the commissioner. The commissioner is like the chief executive of that department for that portfolio.
Right.
Now, there are areas where there are no commissioners. So, special advisor on political and legislative affairs, that is important, for sure. You know, you have a special advisor for Central Business District. That is important. Special advisor on sustainable development goals. That is important. What the potential problem here is if you have a full commissioner for a position, why duplicate that exact position
by having
and say
an
a special advisor? First of all, it's not prudent use of resources. To start with. But you are also setting yourself up for a problem, because there is no way many of these commissioners are not going to feel that some of their initiatives are either being undermined or not supported by a special advisor who can just walk into the governor's office and start talking with the governor, whereas the commissioner may not be able to do so.
Now,
it's a potential problem.
Let's see. Well, what do you make of this situation? I mean, so let me see. We have quite a number of special advisors. In fact, which is why one of our callers said yesterday that we had too many people. So you have, like Rotimi have pointed out, you have duplications. You have a special advisor for the same role that you have a commissioner. Do you think there will be a clash, really? If their roles are well defined and each person sticks to the gun?
If their roles are well defined, there should not be. And I believe their roles are well defined. Another way to look at it is to, I mean, this is with the governor himself as part of the entire scheme. If you take, say, education, the issues to be dealt with in education are so many that there is more than enough to go around for those guys.
Right.
I can say, for example, I have an issue with primary school education infrastructure in Lagos, and that is what I want this advisor to deal with.
Right.
So on matters regarding that particular issue, is the chief executive on that, and he drills it down and get things resolved. While the commission, I'm just using arbitrary
as an illustration.
Many of these ministries are very large ministries, like you said.
Large.
Yeah, there's a lot to do there. Transportation, for instance, there's a lot to do there.
But they all have directors. So if there is a ministry and there is a PAMSEC.
There's a director, there's a PAMSEC.
You know, there is a PAMSEC and there are directors for departments. So the point that Gbolahan is pointing out should reasonably be covered by the directors. So let me try and explain it better. The special advisor has no budget to present to the House of Assembly and say, this is my budget for education. The commissioner has a budget to say, I'm defending this budget, this is what I'm advocating, this is how I utilize the resources. But if a special advisor, if the person is an over-sabi person and just feels that commissioner is nonsense, me, I know better, the special advisor will keep going to the governor to say, sir, that person doesn't know what they are doing.
Could it be, however, that the governor has looked at these positions and he realizes that he might not know what's going on here and he needs someone to actually advise him?
But that's what the commissioners are for.
We need to be realistic that some of the appointments were compensation.
Oh, yeah.
And to a certain extent, you just They just give you some of those people. So you need
something,
to,
Sha,
you
so
need
that
to
your camp will be happy. You know. Now,
So
see,
you think this is merely compensation?
for some of them, not all.
for some
For
of them.
some of them.
Like, which ones do you think were?
No, you don't want to put me on the spot.
I just put you right there.
No, but there are some of them that
Some of
don't
them,
fit.
you
We
know.
don't have to start naming.
Now let's look at the
it's
three.
self-evident.
The three people that were some of them are actually very self-evident. The three that were rejected, the State Assembly did not tell us why they were rejected.
Right.
We still don't know. Their names were on the brochure yesterday for during the swearing in, although they were not sworn in. So we have these three people: Miss Adekemi Ajayi Bembe, Mr. Befemi Judge, who was also an active player, who is an active player in the APC. In fact, contested for the Etiosa local government. Also, Prince Olanrewaju Sanusi. These three were rejected. We have no reasons, but the House said
No official.
no official reason that the governor
there were
could.
some reasons that were put across.
There are reasons we don't know.
That we don't know. So from here, I have no reasons. But what do you make of these three? The House has said that the governor could renominate them if he wishes. But what does this tell us?
It tells us, number one, that the people should have a right to know more than we have right now. If there are public hearings or you know, you had an engagement, and the assembly had an engagement with these people. There's nothing wrong in making such engagement open, so we all get to know what went down. There are some information that the constituencies of those people are rejected them, and that is why they are rejecting them. Now, how that is supposed to have happened, it would have been better if we all heard it. If we're
all on the same page and we know what's going on.
Exactly.
What exactly is a constituency?
Again,
Is it your village,
does that
your
also
state,
mean that
your camp?
does that also mean that perhaps the governor, in appointing these people, didn't consult with the constituency first before making such appointment?
Don't forget, it has taken even so long for us to get to the point where we are. There's a lot of political intrigues involved in getting. I was reading somewhere there were over 600 people applied for this commissioner's job. So what are we talking about? To get 600 to 35, you can imagine the kind of politics that had played out.
Let's not say that there was a list of 600.
There was a list of 600 who are nominated.
That's understandable. Yeah. So you must have very sharp, you know, and the ability to scrutinize it and say, these are the people I really want.
Exactly.
But these three people, I'm really interested in them. Actually, Obafemi Judge, when we read his profile out yesterday, he was a key player. I mean, in fact, he campaigned
Even for the
2019 elections at the presidential,
at the national level.
So the question now is, these three people have been rejected. Does this mean that their positions are vacant right now? Because we didn't know what they were actually going to do. Are we going to miss them, or can the governor just go ahead and do without them?
There are two things. You can either replace them with people that are more acceptable to the assembly, or should we say to the people. But I think the people, whatever the problem is, can also be resolved, and the same people represented and cleared.
Right.
So it's either of those two.
But we don't know what the problems are.
For whatever position.
Yeah, that we don't even know.
There's an important point that Bolanho was flagging earlier in respect to the role of the special advisor, which is that they could be appointed to take care of special issues. And you gave the example of education. It was a great point you made. The example for primary education is serious, but I would think, for instance, that if the special advisor for education, Tokumba Wahab, for instance, had been appointed as a special advisor on vocational training in a place like Lagos, because the number of young people outside the formal education system,
there's a lot to capture.
There's a lot, yes, and they are hustling.
Yeah.
You know, some of them go and, as we describe it, go and learn work, which is vulcanizer, welding, carpentry, ironmonger, and some of them are doing well for themselves. Now, if there was a special advisor for vocational training that can help to set up that sector properly in terms of process, training, certification, because we still have a situation in which, when it comes to areas like plumbing and so forth, people from neighboring countries where they have actual certification are considered to be better, because there are basics in those things. If you go and kosher for plumbing, but you don't know
kosher,
physics,
you mean?
if you go and learn work for plumbing and you don't know physics,
well, many of those
and
who
you don't understand water pressure, I mean, that's why some of them come and do your tank and everything,
and by the next day,
after 2 days
it's all leaking.
Right.
Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll take this to the national level. Today, the ministers will be sworn in, so we'll also anticipate what might be happening, what we expect for the next 4 years, because the cabinet is crucial to the functioning of this administration. We have Bola Olojede here in the studio. Rotimi Sankore is also here. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.
More talk, news and sports after this.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
It's the morning Crossfire, and we're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info, taking a look at the cabinet, both at the state level and at the federal level. The ministers would be sworn in today, and we will give you a live coverage right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info from 10 a.m. As soon as the swearing in begins, our correspondents will be there to give us a live feed, and you'll be able to watch online on Facebook, on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter as we give you pictures, and as the events go on, you will get updates there. So make sure you're following us so you don't get to miss anything. Today, we're focusing on these ministers, setting agenda for the incoming ministers. We've taken a look at the commissioners that were sworn in yesterday and special advisors for the Lagos state government. The cabinet is set. There is no excuse anymore. From today, you can begin to ask them all the questions and why they're not working, because now there is a cabinet.
Right.
On the federal level, the cabinet will be set today. So from tomorrow, we can begin to ask them all the tough questions. Also, you can be sure that we'll bring you all these people on the show on the Morning Crossfire, so you can interact with them like we like to do. We have Bola Olojede here in the studio. Rotimi Sankore is here. Also, I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I am Sheriff Quadry. Let's get on with our conversation this morning. So, Rotimi, let me begin with you. inauguration of the new ministers, portfolios to be assigned. Any expectations?
Well, I think Ngige jumped the gun during the retreat by commenting on the NASU and the SASNO strike.
Sano strike.
And they didn't even want to. They didn't want to hear a word from him.
which suggests he thinks he will be going back there.
Oh, that would be quite a thing.
So, I mean, let's set aside the disappointment and the absurdity of nominating ministers or commissioners without portfolio. Until that problem is fixed, the screening exercise is a farce.
Waste of time.
At any level. But let's say we've litigated that properly. Let's set it aside for a moment. What are we expecting? Honestly, it is difficult to say because there is no logic to the matter. Anybody can end up anywhere. Even with the mess of no portfolio attached to the nomination, if you asked me to comment or educated guess on a logical level, I would have thought, for instance, that if the president separates Attorney General and Minister of Justice, which a lot of people have called for, because
it looks like there are two people who could hold that position well.
Because, I mean, historically, the Attorney General works for the government. The Minister of Justice is for all of us.
Yeah.
But the person playing that role comes up with contradictory statements. For instance, telling us when somebody strayed into a question that when security is more important than human rights.
It was saying that national security is superior to human rights.
Yes, but what is national security? Is national security the ego of the president or the interests of the party in power?
The Constitution even sets clearly how national security is defined. It sets it clearly.
We've seen funny situations. I mean, really funny. Remember the gentleman that named his dog, with the name of the president, and some people went to arrest him. Is that a national security problem? Honestly, at best, it was in bad taste.
Yeah, but it was a name. It's a name.
But let
us. Noun is the name of a person, animal, place, thing.
Just hold on. Just hold on.
And you couldn't even be sure what the spelling was. It could have been anything.
We knew what the spelling was.
No, we don't. He didn't write it out, did he?
When the guy was arrested, the guy explained. He said he didn't do it to insult the president. He said it is because he loves the president.
and he loves his dog.
And that his pet...
He transferred the...
And that he felt that having his pet named after the president was a way of doing honor. And I thought, well, that's his own personal interpretation. Meanwhile, the security agencies have gone after him.
Let's tell you what you need to know about the 43 ministers who will be sworn in today. There are 7 women, 36 men, 7 states comprising Edo, Anambra, Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, and Kwara have 2 nominees each. Those who come from these states are Osage Ehanire and Clement Ike from Edo State, Sharon Ikezo and Kritin Giga from Anambra State, Miriam Katagun and Adamu from Bauchi State, Muhammad Mahmoud and Zainab Ahmed from Kaduna, Sabo Nanono and Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi they're both from Kano, Babatunde Fashola and Adeleke Mamoran from Lagos, Lai Muhammad and Bimsola Saraki are from Kwara State. The nominees were drawn from all the 36 states of the Federation. The 7 women on that list, you have Sharon Ikezo, Zainab Ahmed, Bimsola Saraki, Ramatu Tijani Aliyu, Sadiya Farouk, Miriam Katagun, and Pauline Tallinn. Names of 19 ministers who served with the president in the first term were dropped and replaced with new ones. So you have 19 fresh faces on this list. Did you expect to have more fresh faces? Since the president said it was taking his time to, bring people that he knew? Did you expect he would have more people back in his cabinet? Does this show that he was impressed by his first term?
I think it's possible. He has his own way of judging his own performance. But I think beyond that, our performance management needs to improve as a country. I remember the previous administration actually set up a performance management office in the presidency. Unfortunately, it wasn't particularly effectual. In this new administration, though I heard when the president said there will be more or less like deliverables to be given to this guy, but that is the truth.
Can we make those deliverables public?
That's
so
it. We need to make it
them
public, and they need to be specific things. If I'm talking about
they are
roads,
public servants.
Yes, it should be public.
Yes, so I should be able to say, oh, your target within the limits of fund we're able to provide for you is this kilometers of roads across this, and this. Those are specific. At the end of a particular period, we could measure these guys.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a clearly communicated deliverable to someone, at the end of a particular period, the truth is, how do you measure him? It's difficult.
It's a big question. Rotimi, one of the questions that people have asked is, how can we stimulate Nigeria's economy? The central bank the other day came out to say that, look, there is recession, it's staring us in the face. Now we have a cabinet that is coming up into the current administration's plans. How do you think they should approach the economy-wise? How do you think the approach should be like?
Education. The Nigerian population is undereducated. Nigeria does not have the right quantity and the right quality of skills in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's the key driver of industrialization globally.
Right.
That's why China, South Korea, all those countries. I mean, I can't understand why we don't have a clear and deliberate policy for what is called STEM education. I keep saying, I'm so shocked, disappointed, embarrassed, ashamed that a country of this size cannot manufacture photocopier, which is the first step of technological advancement. Photocopier. We can't manufacture in this country. So education, especially in STEM areas, I mean, the investment, needs to be quintupled to start with. And that means revamping all the Yaba techs, all the departments of engineering in our universities, and all. It is just so shameful. I can't understand how anybody in the government can say we are going to be industrialized. It's like going to buy a car without tire and say I'm going to drive very far.
Yeah, I'll drive at 80 kilometers.
And you expect the car to even move. One
of the things you have always raised, Rotimi, when we talk about governance and how frustrating it is that we talk about these things every day and they're hardly doing anything, is that they probably don't understand the reality. So we have a new cabinet. Looking at these names, do you see that maybe a large percentage of these ministers understand what's really going on and can then translate this into policies and deliverables for the country?
So unlike at the state level, I can say confidently that I know many of these people in a working capacity. Some of them have no business there in any function at all. Even without portfolio being assigned to them.
They shouldn't even be there.
Some of them should not even be there. In a country that are facing the problems, when we get to 10 o'clock. No, I'm serious.
You see why you guys should not miss 10 o'clock?
When we get to 10 o'clock.
What we'll do at 10 o'clock is read out their profiles to you again so you can know each one of them. And then we anticipate what portfolios each person will be getting. And we wait for the shock. And we transfer the shock to you.
So another area is electricity.
Yeah.
Right.
Look, Governor Fashola, or former Governor Fashola, by most measurements, did reasonably well in Lagos. Probably not as well as he should have done, but reasonably well. And that's even taken into context that any governor in Lagos that does not do well, must be completely daft, given what Lagos is endowed with. Even by that measurement, he did reasonably well. But on this electricity matter, the man just needs to come out and say, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't perform as well as I thought I should have. I mean, the measurements are there.
Were there deliverables given to him? What should we be apologizing for?
No,
what are we measuring
just
him
hang
again?
on. First of all, he's on record as having said that electricity is not rocket science, and any government should be able to change the electricity situation within 6 months.
But he denied
that's
saying
one.
that.
Hang on, he's on record
But
now.
he denied that.
It doesn't matter
say,
that
do you have the
deny it.
record?
Yes.
So there you go.
That was during campaign. You campaign in poetry. Or you
Flowery words.
when it comes to
But-
actually executing.
But those
Yes.
things, but
It's
those
in prose.
It's
but
prose.
those things,
You have to
but-
think hard.
but those things were specifics. The other thing he said when he was governor was that he doesn't see any reason why a state like Lagos should not be allowed to generate its own electricity. That's also on record. We need to find out from him, why is it that he didn't facilitate that?
He did a bit of that.
But not to the. I mean, this idea that there is a cap on how much electricity
And once
you
you get
can
to that cap,
generate
you have
before
to
you put it into
onto the
no,
national
now.
grid.
A country the size of Nigeria should not have one grid to start with.
Exactly. Couldn't that have been because of that law, one grid law that
Unless we
have to
change the
have?
law, there's
what,
nothing
what,
we
what
can
would
do.
you have? What would you have preferred him to do in that instance?
First of all, openly advocate for multiple grids. That's what is existent in all federal countries in the world, not to mention countries of the size of Nigeria. You can't have a fire in Edo State, a small fire, and then the whole grid nationally will go down.
But now, before we head to the phones,
ridiculous.
the lines are buzzing. Do you really think he could have done anything? In the first place, he had 3 ministries. Do you think from the start, personally, I thought could he actually have rejected some of those ministries and asked to just focus on one? Do you think he couldn't do so much because he had 3 important ministries just on him? And did he have deliverables and did he meet those targets?
It's a fairly complex situation. Honestly, 3 ministries were too much for anybody to do. And those were key ministries. Look at
Right.
works,
Yeah.
for
Right.
example.
Works,
alone.
it's a lot.
Right.
And then power. Historically, power is one of the most troublesome and difficult ministries in the Nigerian context. And that is why, if you flash back, way back, Shehu Shagari, we have been talking 3,000 megawatts of electricity. Shehu Shagari left that scene 36 years ago. And as we are speaking, we are still dancing around that same neighborhood. So it tells us that there's something we need to confront. There's a Frankenstein monster somewhere in that.
People have been working the money. Stop.
Okay, that's the name of the monster.
Stop commenting in poetry.
Money workers.
Let's get to the
Stop
phone.
commenting in
You guys
poetry.
will join us at
People
10
have
o'clock.
trousered the money.
We will mention all these ministries. We'll do an
Right.
appraisal of some of those ministers who are returning. And you can tell us how you feel they're fed in the past 4 years and why they're getting back into the cabinet and what we really expect from them for the next 4 years.
Right. If you would like to be a part of the conversation right now, feel free to hit us up on these numbers.
Call us on 0127709993, 0127719993, 0127729993, and 0127739993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
Yes, this is Nigeria Info. We are listening. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And you can also reach us via the phones right now.
Hello, Mr. Vincent. Good morning.
Hello, good morning to everybody in the studio.
Good morning.
I continue to be somehow optimistic. I don't want you guys to demoralize me.
Oh, that was not our intention.
Public
We just
policy is
intend
not done on
to-
the basis of optimism.
we just try to tell you what the facts are.
Yes, but then my brother Rotimi, I doubt what these guys have to offer. I doubt because
So much for
if
your
you look at
optimism.
yes, if you look at all the indices, if you look at all the indices around, you can see that there is no the think tank. There must be something like think tank. Go back to Obasanjo's time. There was somebody like Philip Ashodo and the rest. Then come to the second term, you have Quadry there. That was what JE indicated. Not just because they messed up somehow. But here now, there is no clear cut of what is happening. This is just I don't know the word. If I use the harsh word, it will not be sound for.
You don't sound as optimistic like you made us believe that you were. Prince YS is here from Amuwo. I think. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Wemimo.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Carol and the other man in the studio, good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
My name is Prince YS, calling from Amuwo.
You're welcome.
I think we are expecting. And when we talk of Fasola, I disagree with Sankore. Fasola performed in the Ministry of Housing, Works and Power. I think we are talking of 8,000 megawatts now. I know how many megawatts he met it. I continue saying, he says a government that can't perform with 6 months. It's not, no, he deny. And what about the delay? Why are we still repeating that statement? So for me, today, I just want Fasola to handle power. Let's give works to somebody like Rafa Regesola. That is my thinking. Right. And the transport should go to Rotimi, Amechi. All these three people.
Thank you very much, Prince YS. Let's listen to Kehinde calling us from Isheri. Kehinde, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Kehinde.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yes, I want to say that I've been enjoying your guest in the studio there.
Thank you.
But my contribution this time around is on the issue of the ministerial nominee of Minister Babatunde Fashola. I think it's too much for a man to handle, as far as I'm concerned. They should just divide that portfolio, because power alone in this country is something that one person should fight. We remember Inaji when he was fighting power under Obasanjo or Yaradua. You know, he tried as much as possible not to now talk of putting three together under one man. I think it's too much for one man to handle.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling us. Remember that we'll have more time to take your calls and comments on this list. We'll even give you a fuller gist about their names from 10 o'clock when the swearing in is expected to start. We have another caller.
Yeah, right. Hello, good morning to you.
Tamuna is here from Satellite Town. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Tamuna, like you said.
Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Sankore.
Morning.
And the other gentleman, I greet you.
Mr. Bolao.
Good morning.
Mr. Bolao. Okay, Mr. Sankore, I've listened to a lot of your programs, and they've been very, very, very educative, and you've touched mostly at the heart of the issues we face. And I can tell you, a lot of Nigerians, myself inclusive, are not very optimistic. Personally, I even advise my friends that, look, if you have a way of going to Canada, please do, because that is the new thing in vogue now. Because you cannot, like a gentleman said, you cannot revive a dying economy, or like a dying economy, a dying man, without gathering experts to look at what is killing the man.
Yeah.
You cannot draw in people from all shades. If you look at the list of commissioners both in Lagos and at the federal level, you most likely weep for this country. You will weep for this country. We don't even have an idea of where we want to be. Normally, countries plan and say, okay, 20 years from now, 40 years from now, this is where we would like to be.
That's right.
We don't have any such plan here.
Right. Thank you very much, Tamuna.
Wake up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tamuna. Thank you so much for calling us.
We have, but there is no milestone.
Yeah, that's a problem. It's the milestone to say this is how we're going to get there. This is the actual plan that we have. Let's read some comments from Facebook. We have this one from Michael Okunlola, who says the 3 rejected nominees are chosen by the governor, but without the knowledge of Bodilon. Says a rejection by the House of Assembly was to remind the governor of who is actually in charge of Lagos. He says, I'm just thinking aloud. I'm just reading aloud also. That's his thoughts right there. Right. Good luck is on the line. It's from Lekki. Good morning, good luck.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, good to have you join us.
Yeah, I've been following your program since on Monday, and it's very, very educative.
Keep listening.
I just want to make a quick comment on the commissioners' commission yesterday and the ministers to the commission today. Yeah, I would say this country is in total mess. How can you have 3 important ministries handled under one person? Fashola, yes, let's say he's kind of competent while he was still governor of Lagos State. But at the same time, those ministerial portfolios are too much for only him to handle. First of all, power. He has done nothing. I must confess he has done nothing. And I'm in support with the last caller that says the next thing, or advising his friend that the next thing to leave this country and go down to Ghana, because that is where you can actually work for what you study, or sort of, okay, I'm a graduate of physics, okay, and seeking for job, being innovative, trying to get something out of it. No way until now, which we had to digress into real estate.
Wow.
So imagine people that brought down or brought up to the
one of the most important sciences,
portfolios and the rest. They are not. They just have this educational whatever on paper, but we don't know them to be capable of doing this. Rendering services, valuable services that people can see and say, okay, these people have tried.
Right. Thank you very much for calling us. Make sure to join us at 10 when you have more time to talk. Right. But for now, let's keep our comments short because of our time. Kayode is on the line from Ikotu.
Hello, Kayode. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, morning. See, I actually called in yesterday, and I want to just emphasize what I was trying to say yesterday.
Okay.
And this is it. See, if you engage a coach for a football team, he has to have a target. You have to have something that you use to measure whether he has failed or succeeded. It can't just be open.
Yeah.
This administration is going for its second term, which is going to be 8 years. We should have defined milestones to say you have failed or you have succeeded. It should not be subjective. It should be very clear, because if you can't set questions and not have a marking scheme.
Right.
True.
See, the same person they can't be the one to come back again and tell us that I have tried. What have we asked them that, see, by the end of this administration, this is what's going to determine whether you're failed or you're succeeded? Because they're coming back again for votes. So at the time they come back for votes, what are we going to ask them? That did you do this thing?
Right.
So that's why they keep coming back.
Right.
Because we don't even have what to ask them.
Right. Thank you so much. He's made a good point about having a way of measuring performance. That's important. Comrade Ibe is on the line from Ojo. Good morning, Comrade Ibe.
Good morning
Good
to
morning.
you and everyone there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm not surprised. Both the federal, the kind of ministers they're about to inaugurate today, you cannot give what you don't have. So I don't expect much from them. We have a problem at hand. It's only God will help us. So anybody who is expecting miracle from the federal, please, like the man said, if I'm opportunity, just jump outside from this country.
Wow. Are you all planning to leave the country now? If everyone leaves,
if I'm opportune, I'll be the first person to leave. They are just, all of them are nothing but dreamers.
Bolao says that is not the way to go. I've had people advise me the past few weeks also to just pack my bags and go.
See, we live in a world where today people born in America are being told to go back to their countries. They were born there, they've risen to become lawmakers, and somebody wakes up and says, go back to where you came from. We need to think twice about it. There is no other home. There's no other place in the world where you're going to be a first-class citizen other than your own country. We have a role to make this country work.
In a situation where there is a disconnect between the government and the governed.
And it doesn't look like you'll be able to fix it anytime soon.
Exactly. So how do you rectify that?
We have to work at it.
People have different threshold for pressure.
Actually,
honestly,
that's what I've realized.
In my case, people ask me, "Why did you go back?"
Yeah.
Why did you
come back?
Yes.
I've gotten some question from people too.
But some people are able to say, "Let's stay and fix it." Some others are saying, "Once I find an open window, I'm out. I'm out." All right, people, let's take a final call. Can't we do that?
Yeah,
before we go, and then see if we can take some comments. Oops. Sorry about that. Please try another line if you can.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo and Sheriff.
Good morning.
Mr. Rotimi and Mr. Bonam.
Thank you. Good
Kenny
morning.
is my name from Apapa.
Welcome, Kenny.
And I really have been enjoying your discussion and analysis. We are talking about ministers, but I'm also thinking, who provides the leadership to the ministers? You know, you can have the best brains in your team. If you yourself, you are not the best brain yourself, there's no way you can get any good thing or get much from your team members. We all love Nigeria Info, very good station, you know, good AAPs, OAPs and things like that. But I'm sure you guys have good leadership in that place. And that's why you guys are faring well.
Right.
The president is the person to even provide the leadership and the direction to the minister. So even if he has the best hands, the Buhari that may I have seen over these last few years, I don't think he has the capacity to provide the right kind of leadership, even if he brings the best hands. The worst that could happen is that some of these guys will just get frustrated. Those ones who have the guts enough will just resign and leave the cabinet, but off.
Right.
All right, Kenny. That's as much we can take. We have to go now. We have a fuller package. We've been saying it all morning. Don't worry. We'll open the phone lines more at 10 o'clock when we'll do the live coverage of the ministerial swearing in by the president at 10 o'clock. It promises to be interesting because we have a whole lot of panel in the studio at then.
We see the phone lines are still buzzing. You guys bring all the comments up to 10 o'clock. We'll be here for you all till noon. So we'll be able to talk with you and also give you a live feed. But let's go now. After the news, Tunji Andrews will be here with Money, Business and Economy. Big thanks to Bola Olojede for joining us on the show today. Thank you.
Yeah, good to be here again.
Rotimi Sankore, thank you also for being here. You'll be here with us also from 10. So we can look at all the list of the ministers and anticipate what to expect today. But big thanks to Zainab Yakin, Tosia Keride and Yvonne Ohefe for assisting. After the news, Tunji Andrews with Money, Business and Economy. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sheriff Quadry.
We'll see you again at 10.